Welcome back, collectors and enthusiasts. Sparkles. Today we're going to explore the top 3 most valuable Susan B. Anthony dollar coins from the United States of America, minted between 1979 and 1981, and again in 1999. These coins were the first small-sized dollars in U.S. history, honoring the great suffragist Susan B. Anthony. While many of these coins are common, certain examples are incredibly rare due to minting errors, silver-colored planchets, and unique toning or color shades. These special varieties have become major players in the coin collecting and investing world, with some selling for thousands of dollars at auction. These aren't just coins, they're pieces of history and rarity that collectors are always hunting. So if you're a coin enthusiast or someone who appreciates the beauty and significance of American currency, this video is for you. Backhand index pointing right, let's dive right in and start our countdown of the top 3 most valuable Susan B. Anthony dollars. First up on the list is Rocket. The Susan B. Anthony dollar of 1980 marked a bold continuation of a coin that had already divided opinion across America. Introduced only the year before, the Anthony dollar was revolutionary. It was the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real woman, the famous suffragist who dedicated her life to the fight for women's rights. Small, sturdy, and distinctive, the coin was meant to replace the bulky Eisenhower dollar, but its similarity in size and color to the quarter caused endless confusion. Still, the 1980 issue represented perseverance, and the Denver Mint, marked with its proud D Mint mark, produced millions. But imagine, hidden within that flood of copper-nickel-clad pieces, a single anomaly, a silver-struck 1980 D Susan B. Anthony dollar. If such a piece exists, it would defy every official record of the U.S. Mint. The Anthony dollars were struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition, designed for durability and cost efficiency. Silver had been eliminated from circulation coins years earlier, after 1971, when rising bullion prices made silver coinage unprofitable. For an Anthony dollar from 1980 to appear in silver, it would mean that a stray planchet, perhaps left over from a previous special strike, or slipped in as a minting error, was used by accident or by some twist of fate. That single mistake would transform an ordinary coin into a treasure beyond imagination. The design itself gives this potential rarity even more gravity. Anthony's profile stares forward with determination, framed by 11 stars, embodying her role in a relentless fight for equality. On the reverse, the bold American eagle descends to the lunar surface, commemorating the Apollo 11 mission, one of America's greatest triumphs. Now, picture this design struck not in the muted gray of clad metal, but in the gleaming brilliance of silver. The sharp relief, the luster, the weight, all of it would make the coin a living contradiction, a symbol of progress carved on a canvas that shouldn't exist. The Denver Mint in 1980 was at the peak of production, supplying much of the nation's circulating coinage. Known for precision and consistency, the Denver facility was not prone to spectacular mistakes. And yet, history shows that even the most controlled environments sometimes let miracles slip through. A silver Anthony dollar with a D Mint mark would prove that no system is flawless. More importantly, it would give collectors an object that bridges the gap between the impossible and the real. In the numismatic world, value is determined by 3 things: rarity, demand, and story. A 1980 D Anthony dollar in silver would have all 3 in overwhelming supply. It would be rare beyond words, as no such coin should exist. The demand would be instant, as collectors and investors alike would recognize it as a once-in-a-lifetime find. And the story, the accidental creation of a coin that broke the rules of its time, would send ripples through the collecting community. The financial impact of such a discovery cannot be overstated. While ordinary Anthony dollars might sell for only a few dollars in today's market, a silver-struck 1980 D could command prices that skyrocket into the millions. Auction houses would clamor for the right to sell it. Museums would seek to display it. Wealthy collectors would compete fiercely to own it, not just for its intrinsic worth, but for the prestige of holding a coin that no one else in the world possesses. The emotional impact would be equally powerful. For those who cherish the memory of Susan B. Anthony, owning such a coin would be a way to honor her legacy in an even more extraordinary way. For others, it would be a testament to America's complex monetary history, a tangible reminder that even in a system designed for uniformity, uniqueness sometimes emerges. And for the finder, it would be a life-changing discovery, the kind of story passed down through generations. It is important to recognize how coins like this capture the spirit of possibility. Collectors spend lifetimes searching for treasures, hoping that one day they will stumble upon a coin so rare that it changes everything. The 1980 D. Silver Susan B. Anthony dollar is a perfect embodiment of that dream. A coin that official records say shouldn't exist, yet one that could, through error or oversight, have slipped into circulation or been set aside unnoticed for decades. The 1980 Anthony series already holds significance in numismatic circles as the second year of issue, proving that the mint was committed to the experiment despite public criticism. But to add the whisper of a silver specimen into that story elevates the series from curiosity to legend. It transforms the 1980 D from just another date into a beacon of possibility for the dedicated treasure hunter. If you were to encounter such a coin, the first rule is simple. Do not underestimate it. Do not spend it as ordinary currency, and do not let it vanish into obscurity. Coins like this hold the power to rewrite destinies overnight. They can lift someone from anonymity into fame, from modest living into extraordinary fortune. They are not just bits of metal. They are keys to unimaginable futures. Ultimately, the story of the imagined 1980 D. Silver Susan B. Anthony dollar is about more than money. It is about mystery, history, and the eternal human desire to believe in the impossible. It reminds us that within the everyday object we pass around so casually, there may lurk miracles. Miracles capable of rewriting not just personal fortunes, but also the very narrative of American coinage. And so, every time you hold a Susan B. Anthony dollar, look at it closely. Perhaps yours is ordinary, a piece of history in copper and nickel. But perhaps, just perhaps, it is one of those impossibilities, one of those coins that slip through time's cracks, one that glows with the shine of silver where no silver should be. And if it is, then your fortune, your name, and your destiny are already written in the chronicles of numismatic history. Next up, the year 1979 marked a turning point in American coinage. The United States Mint unveiled a brand new dollar coin, one that departed from the grand size of the Eisenhower dollar and instead introduced a smaller, more practical piece for circulation. That coin was the Susan B. Anthony dollar, the first U.S. coin to feature a real woman in its design, a woman who embodied courage, reform, and the fight for equality. Minted at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, the series was groundbreaking, but none carried the whispers of mystery and fortune like the 1979 D issue rumored to exist in silver. The Denver Mint, located in the heart of Colorado, had long been the workhorse of American coinage. Its mint mark, the bold D, carried a reputation for reliability and precision. Yet it is precisely in such a place of order and control that legends are born, because when even a single anomaly escapes the presses, it transforms an ordinary coin into something the world cannot ignore. If a 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar was struck not in copper-nickel clad, but in silver, it would represent one of the most astonishing accidents in modern numismatic history. Ordinary 1979 D. Anthony dollars are common, struck by the tens of millions, and circulate as curiosities today. But imagine a piece from that same year, that same mint, struck in brilliant silver. The luster would be unmistakable, the weight slightly different, the ring of the coin sharper and purer than any clad metal could produce. Such a coin would stand out like a diamond among stones, carrying the face of Susan B. Anthony with an elegance even she herself might have admired. This coin would embody a clash between eras. By 1979, silver had been absent from circulating dollar coins for nearly a decade, ever since the mint shifted to base metals to save costs as silver prices soared. The Eisenhower silver-clad dollars had ended in 1978, closing the chapter on America's long relationship with precious metal in daily coinage. For a silver Anthony dollar to appear in 1979 would mean a stray silver planchet had somehow survived the transition, slipping into the presses unnoticed. Such an accident would create a piece both historically contradictory and endlessly fascinating. The design itself magnifies the coin's importance. Susan B. Anthony's determined portrait, surrounded by 11 stars, looks out with fierce resolve, reminding Americans of a role in securing women's suffrage. On the reverse, the bold American eagle descends toward the moon, commemorating the Apollo 11 landing and America's triumph in space. To see these images struck on silver rather than clad alloy would be to see them elevated, etched in a medium worthy of their weight in history. The value of such a coin would be beyond calculation. Numismatics thrives on rarity, demand, and story, and the 1979 D. Silver Anthony would have all three in legendary proportion. Only one or two might exist, if at all, and the tale of their accidental creation would electrify collectors. Auction houses would battle for the right to sell them, with opening bids already reaching into the millions. Museums would vie to display them as testaments to America's unpredictable minting history. Private collectors would guard them like relics, aware they own a piece of living mythology. For the individual lucky enough to discover such a coin, the impact will be life-changing. Imagine finding it in a forgotten box of old change, or receiving it unknowingly as part of a transaction decades ago. What seems like pocket change would instantly become a fortune, capable of turning someone into a millionaire overnight. It would not just change a bank account, it would change a destiny. Yet beyond the fortune lies the symbolism. A silver 1979 D. Anthony dollar would stand as a metaphor for the unexpected opportunities that life presents. Just as Susan B. Anthony herself defied the conventions of her era, so too would this coin defy the expectations of its time. It would say to the world, even in the most ordinary places, even in a pile of everyday coins, miracles can be hiding. The Denver Mint's role in this legend cannot be overlooked. Known for its massive production runs, the Denver Mint rarely produces great rarities. That is why the possibility of a silver-struck Anthony dollar from Denver carries such allure. It would be an outlier in every sense, a reminder that perfection is not always stereo uniformity, but sometimes the presence of the impossible. Collectors often speak of white whales, coins so rare, so legendary, that they are almost mythical. The 1979 D. Silver Anthony dollar will be exactly that. It would not only redefine the series, but also force the world to reconsider what is truly possible in numismatics. A coin born of accident, forged in silver when none should exist, would forever be remembered as a crown jewel of modern U.S. coinage. For you, the message is simple. If you hold a 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar, do not dismiss it as ordinary. Examine it closely, feel its weight, listen to its ring. Because if yours is one of those unimaginable rarities struck in silver, you're not just holding a coin. You're holding a fortune, a story, and a piece of history rolled into one. And in the end, that is what makes the 1979 D. Silver Susan B. Anthony dollar so compelling. It is more than metal, more than money, more than design. It is a legend waiting to be uncovered, a bridge between what we know and what we dare to dream. In its gleam lies the power to change not just fortunes, but also the way we see the very history of American coinage. Next up, when the Susan B. Anthony dollar entered circulation in 1979, it was hailed as a modern experiment in American coinage. For the first time, a real woman, not allegorical liberty, appeared on U.S. currency, honoring Anthony's unyielding fight for women's suffrage. The design was bold, the size practical, and the intent clear, to replace the bulky Eisenhower dollar with a coin that could function easily in everyday commerce. Yet hidden beneath this well-known history lurks a far more tantalizing tale, whispered among collectors, a story of the 1979 P and 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollars struck in silver. The Philadelphia Mint, bearing no mint mark at all, was the birthplace of countless coins since the nation's earliest days. In 1979, it produced millions of Anthony dollars, flooding banks with a coin the public often mistook for a quarter. But within the sea of copper-nickel-clad coins lies the possibility of a miracle. A few pieces struck not in base metal but in silver, perhaps from stray planchets left over from earlier runs of Eisenhower silver dollars. If even one survived, it would be an unmatched treasure. Meanwhile, the Denver Mint, with its unmistakable D mint mark, also pressed out millions of Anthony dollars that same year. Like Philadelphia, Denver was known for efficiency. for mass production, for doing the nation's coinage work without pause. Yet here, too, the whisper suggests an anomaly, a coin bearing Susan B., Anthony's resolute portrait, but shimmering with a sheen of silver, would represent a colossal minting accident, one that collectors dream of but rarely believe exists. The reason this possibility captures imaginations lies in timing. Silver had been stripped from circulating U.S. coinage years before, in the mid-1960s. The last remnants of silver appeared in the special Eisenhower dollar issues, and even those were being phased out as 1978 ended. By 1979, silver was not meant to appear in any standard dollar. For a Philadelphia or Denver coin to be struck in silver in that year would mean an astonishing slip of history, an impossible coin born of forgotten metal. The very design of the Anthony dollar enhances the mystique. Anthony's stern yet visionary face, framed by 11 stars, embodies resilience and reform. On the reverse, the eagle descending to the moon, a nod to Apollo 11, links past struggle with future achievement. Struck in silver, these symbols would gleam with an almost ethereal quality, as if the coin itself were a beacon of both justice and exploration. It would not simply be a dollar. It would be a relic forged by accident into near perfection. For collectors, rarity defines value, and the 1979 silver Anthony's from P or D would be the rarest of the rare. Unlike known proofs or experimental strikes, these would exist outside of official plans, the result of mishap or oversight. Just one surfacing at auction would electrify the numismatic world. Prices would not climb. They would explode, pushing well into the millions as wealthy collectors, museums, and investors alike fought to claim it. Imagine the life of an ordinary person who unknowingly holds such a coin. Perhaps it rests in an old coffee can of change, or tucked away in a family heirloom box. One day, curiosity leads them to examine it more closely, and they notice its weight, its shine, its purity. Suddenly, the coin in their hand is no longer pocket change, but a passport to untold wealth. With one discovery, their fortune shifts overnight, their story forever entwined with numismatic legend. The duality of P and D mint marks only intensifies the legend. The Philadelphia piece, plain and austere with no mark at all, represents a birthplace of American coinage and the chance of miracle amid routine. The Denver piece, bold with its D, stands for might America's industrial coinage machine, somehow slipping in a treasure where none should exist. Together, they form a pairing that will be considered the crown jewels of modern U.S. coinage. These coins also carry a symbolic weight. Susan B. Anthony fought tirelessly for the right to vote, demanding that every voice, no matter how ordinary, had power. In the same way, a common coin, small, easily overlooked, could suddenly hold unimaginable power, enough to transform a life. The silver Anthony dollars embody the idea that greatness often hides where we least expect it, waiting for the right eye to notice. Historians and collectors alike would write endlessly about these silver-struck anomalies. They would debate whether they were true accidents or perhaps quiet test pieces never meant to escape the mint. They would analyze every detail, from strike characteristics to weight and sound, in search of truth. And through their studies, the coins would gain not only monetary value, but also intellectual and cultural significance. If found, these silver 1979 Anthony's would not just be valuable. They would be immortal. They would be displayed in exhibitions, cited in numismatic journals, whispered about in coin clubs for generations. Their story would transcend mere collecting, becoming part of the larger American narrative. How chance, error, and human ambition combine to create moments of unexpected wonder. And so, the legend endures. The 1979 P and 1979 D Susan B. Anthony silver dollars are not just coins. They are potential miracles of history. They remind us that even in the age of modern machinery, perfection is never complete, and chance has its role to play. For the one who holds such a coin, it is not just a fortune. It is a symbol of destiny, a gleaming testament to the fact that the ordinary can at any moment become extraordinary.